right, so we're here with Mary Pallin. Did I get that right?
You did indeed.
Good deal. So, Mary, thank you so much for coming into the Advantage Live show. We've been looking forward to having this conversation with you. I know 2020 has been an interesting year. I know you've gotten to have all kinds of fun with new agents and new ways of doing things. So, but before we get into the meat of this conversation, for those that might not know, can you give us some of the details about the Floyd Wickman and his program, and basically how it helped thousands of agents succeed in this real estate industry?
Yeah, Floyd Wickman, one of the most nationally recognized, one of the most influential people in our industry for years and years on a platform. And then maybe you've heard of Sweat Hogs. He created this spaced training program that teaches people how to sell. And of course, while we adjust the material based on the times and what's going on in the marketplace, it appears to be timeless stuff that once you learn it, you use it for your entire career. It just never goes out of style. So yeah, we've had over 250,000 graduates. It works. Wow. And we've come to your town to teach that program and have all kinds of graduates in your company. Pretty neat.
That's so true. We've had you many times. Yep. Jane, I think, is a graduate.
Yep. Hey, Jane.
Yeah, we have several agents in the Richmond office that have been through, and I think several in each of the offices.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what I really probably appreciate about the Floyd Wickman program too, is we've gotten so complicated in everything. It's a system that is proven to work. It's I wouldn't call it old school. I mean, it might be old school, but it is the way real estate is done and will forever be done, right?
Yeah, and I think what Floyd brought to the party is two things. First of all, a real focus on the people, being kind, putting the customer first. Zig Ziglar was his mentor for 38 years. And you know what Zig said, if you help enough other people get what they want, then you'll always get what you want too. Mm. And so that whole concept. And then I think the other thing is being able to say things your way. If you say ain't and gonna and y'all, it's not like reading a script. You got to be you. And when we don't behave in a genuine manner, I think people can detect that. And it comes off as funny.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. I think that's absolutely true. There was somebody that I don't know who said that, but uniquely you, right? Uniquely you. Yeah. And I think that's really what people want now, especially in 2021 with what we went through. They're wanting that genuine relational type person, and putting on a fake persona to try to capture more people and be like somebody else is just not authentic anymore. So it does seem like,
well, and then there's the influencers, and that's what that is. They're really a hoot. If you've never watched one being filmed, that's putting on a persona, no question about it. So perhaps it has its place, but it certainly isn't in the sales arena when people are making the biggest financial decision, maybe of the decade of their lives.
Mm. Yeah, that's so
Mary,
true.
Talk a little bit about how that program's working now, because I know when I took it, and most of our agents took it, it was a live course over a period of time where we got together with agents from all over the area. So how are you?
With no mask, remember? Oh my gosh, this last year was the first year that I have not flown 100,000 miles on an airplane. So it's completely shifted. Material's the same. You gotta condense the learning, and of course it's not as touchable. For me as a teacher, that's I think one of the gifts that I've always brought to my classroom is I actually care about my students. I want to get to know them. I want to, I'm a girl, so I can touch your shoulder without risk of being sued. So I can hug people and love on people and have lunch with people and listen. And I think that makes me a better teacher. So that's been very challenging to do in a 90-minute once a week, but we did it. We are doing it. You find other ways to build relationships. So a few more sessions than the live. Nobody has to get on a plane and everyone can wear pajamas, but you do have to show up on the screen. You do have to do the assignments. It's not just to sit and listen. Oh, I learned some cool stuff. It's about applying and the results. We do hold you accountable. So everything else is really an awful lot the same.
Yeah, I like that. Accountability is such the important factor of that program and coaching in general. That's what you're looking for, that accountability. That is the key for sure. So Mary, walk us through kind of your journey too. Let's let the audience kind of know how Mary ended up in the Floyd Wickman program and your connection with Floyd Wickman in general and how that all developed.
Well, I got into real estate. Woo! And
Yeah.
by the way, I have a lot of energy. I don't know
I
if
love
you
it.
noticed, but I have a lot of energy. I like people. I'm happy. And that did not create great success for me. I pretty much lost all of my savings account. I pretty much was ready to quit when Floyd Wickman came into my life. And what he brought to me was how to sell. So that's the thing that I was missing. What to say and when to say it and who to say it to and when not to say it and all of that. So he changed my life. He held me accountable. And he changed the way that I move through the world, to tell you the truth. He changed the way I parent, the way that I am married. He changed the way I see the world. And he taught me to see through a lens of success and a lens of, I get to be in control of my life. I get to make choices. I determine my own happiness level. So that's kind of my story. I became very successful. I had a company with 800 agents and
Wow.
moved into the top realm of all of those agents. And we had a top 30 club. So I made the top 30 club and then I moved up in the top 30 club. But bottom line, he taught me how to succeed.
Well, you kind of hit on a couple of cool things about kind of what we are kind of all about here too, is we can teach, agents like listings and paperwork and all those type of things. But really a good, successful agent is going to focus on every avenue of their life. Anybody in business, right? It's not so much just getting good at business. It's the whole package. It's the personal life. It's the financial side of it. It's the law side of it. It's the actual application of the job. All of those type of things are what makes an agent successful. And I think Floyd Wickman pretty much, you're right, addresses those aspects of a real estate's industry and their business.
Yeah, it's holistic.
Yeah.
Holistic.
Floyd taught me to take one day off every week. Like, really? Wait, you're supposed to increase my production, but you want me to take a day off? I took Thursdays off for 7 years. And it's with joy when because Tuesday you don't really feel like it, and Wednesday, but Thursday's coming, I get my day off. And on Friday, if you don't feel like it, you say, shut up, you just had a day off.
Yeah.
So it's smart. Because you
true.
gotta put your family first sometimes, not all the time, or you can be on food stamps. But you put your family first for part of the time and your work first for the other part of the time. That's balance. That's what he taught me. Not 50-50, but what works for you.
That's really good. That's really good. And that's one of the things I did. I would randomly, and now hopefully they come back, is movie theaters. So I would randomly in the middle of the week, if I was having a bad day or I had a day before was really bad, I would literally just jump work and go to a movie theater smack dab in the middle of the day by myself, grab popcorn and sit there and just take the moment, right? The work was still going to be there when I got done. But I looked forward to those random days where I got to do something just completely out of normal during the work week even, because then when I got done watching the movie, I was pretty much energized. At that point, picking up the phone call and that kind of stuff, I was right back to work. And I think I like that, taking a day off and just being okay with it, not feeling guilty.
Yeah, and the Wickman program teaches you to schedule that time, right?
Yeah. So that you can anticipate it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right on, Jay.
Yep.
Well, one of the other things I know I really liked about the program is once you're in it, you stay in it, even if you're done. The resources, the websites, the things that you can use, the materials you take away from that, you can continue to use forever. And I know several agents who've taken the program multiple times just to kind of brush up on it again.
Yeah, we've heard people say, I take it every time it comes near me because I know I'll do more than if I don't. Because let's face it, if you're in real estate, you are self-motivated. You got your license because you're self-motivated, and you can succeed in sales being self-motivated. However, you'll do more if you put yourself in an environment where you are cared for, you care about others, and you're pushed a little bit. We do better if someone's asking us next week, how many conversations did you have? How many listing appointments did you go on?
That's so true. That absolutely. So, transition just a little bit. You and your husband both have a podcast, and I listen to it quite regularly, by the way. And I love it because it's just simple, applicable, information. And and you guys do the coaching call, so you guys are engaged with a lot of agents a lot of times, right? So what are some creative things that agents have told you guys in those calls that you're like, wow, that's a good one? Because I know you share a lot of those type of things in your podcast as well. So what would you say are some of those creative ways that agents are operating inside of this kind of new norm?
You bet. So we take the very best question and the very best tool. And every week we have a whole bunch of them to choose from. And then that's what goes into the podcast. So if you haven't heard it, Mondays with Mike and Mary, it's on SoundCloud, it's on iTunes. And I made a little list because I wanted to make sure that I was trying to think, let's see, what do I want to say? Because we had 103 podcasts. So what am I going to pick?
It's hard.
What are people doing? I think they're using their CRM on a higher level. It used to be CRMs, that's where you put your data, you're going to get your mailing list from, that kind of thing. And let's face it, CRMs have all kinds of bells and whistles, most of which none of us use. So, okay, I have a CRM. But the newest ones and the greatest ones now have group texting. So you can do an actual video and less than 42 seconds and group text that, hey, just thinking about you, want to make sure everyone's safe from COVID. That kind of conversation, and it comes across personally. So you have CRM, and so video texting and group
That's
texting.
good. No, I think that's great. Especially with what we're going through. That's a good pivot item. That texting and video, people want that authenticity again. They want that personal touch. That's good. I love that.
No one wants to answer the phone when it rings either. And no one wants to hear your voicemail. So texting you'll often get an instant reply. It's pretty crazy. SlideDial is another tool. So I just heard a story last week of a guy that got a listing from SlideDial. So he probably SlideDialed 30 people. They're his past clients, his friends, people that he goes, his kids go to school with. And he just called to say, hey, sorry I missed you, checking in. And he gets people calling him back going, I don't know, I didn't hear my phone ring. Well, now you're engaging with people on their terms rather than on your own terms. So using SlideDial as a way of reaching out and then letting them be in control.
That's really good. It's funny. I have SlideDial. I think I've only used it once or twice, but I never really thought about why I would use it. But I think that actually put it into a great idea.
Yeah.
It's on their time. It's really the same as like a text. You send a text, you don't have, people do respond immediately now, but you don't have to. And when I text somebody, I'm not expecting that immediate response. But and that was what people are very hesitant to make that phone call and leave a voicemail, because it's going to ring on the other end and they feel like they're inconveniencing somebody. So SlideDial is a great way to do that. And so that's just an app. I mean, it's just an app.
Yeah.
If you listen to some ads, I think you get it for free, right?
I was just going to say, I think it's a free app.
I think it is. You got to be sold some items, but
if you use it too often or whatever, too many times. So I want to mention video conferencing too, Adam and Jane, because I think, especially in this COVID world, it's not, you don't have to go to someone's house. Now, most agents, I would say, go to someone's house and they're masked and they have booties and they have wipes and they're doing all the protocol. But there's a percentage of people that do not want you in their house.
Yeah.
And I think we're missing out as an industry because we're resistant to change, like human beings generally are. And I think we could get part of that wedge of additional business if we got good at video conferencing. We can present price over the phone. We should be negotiating on video conference. So many agents, I got an offer here, I'll just send it. Yeah, call, I'll talk to you later. why aren't we controlling the flow of information so they see that we care about them and we're advising them? So I think we can use video conferencing on a higher level.
Yeah, that's good. And people have gotten way more comfortable. Agents have gotten much more comfortable in front of the lens. I know they still have a little bit of nerves about it.
Oh yeah.
If you can just get over that, you're going to take that real estate industry to your business to the next level. So I think that's really, really good.
Yeah, I think that's a great point for like when you were talking about negotiating the contract and things. Well, presenting to a seller is much more personable, even if you do send it electronically, to do a Zoom meeting with them or a conference with them, where you can go over that paperwork and make sure they understand all the nuances of that particular contract.
And, you know, there's so much downward pressure on our commissions right now. Just in the last couple of weeks, I've had 2 students that contacted me outside of normal parameters and said, help, I don't know what to do. One was a for sale by owner who was willing to sell to that person's buyer for a 1% fee. You do both sides, I'll pay 1%. The other was someone that she knew, this a different agent. I know this person. They're going to buy a house from me and they're going to sell the girlfriend's house. So we want you to just charge us 1.5% for this property. And this is an agent that has chosen to ask for a higher commission consistently. And, you know, I think because we've got an influx of new agents who maybe are going to do 2 deals all year.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd rather have 1% than nothing.
Yeah.
How do you defend your commission if you're not face to face? If they can't, it's way more difficult to take your money away from you if they can see you. Right?
That's so true.
And then the last kind of cool thing that I've noticed happening out there, and I've just begun now to catch the edge of it, but I think we're going to see it more and more. As we know, we have a listing shortage. Flash! We have a listing shortage. And what's the #1 reason that people don't want to put their house on the market? Because there's a listing shortage, because there's nothing for them to buy, right? So there are some companies around the country now, and I've got a couple of my clients that are beginning to work with them that have figured out how to advance equity so that a buyer, a homeowner can borrow against their equity and go buy and not run the risk of ending up holding 2 houses. And it's an affordability kind of thing, because as you know, the timing is really tight. You know,
very.
Properties that'll sell in 2-3 days. It's just that I need to be able to find something. So that equity advance portion, I think, is going to help us dig out of this hole that we're in eventually.
That's interesting. Yeah. I've not actually read up on that whole process, but that's something to definitely research for sure. Cause I mean, that's a way to actually go ahead and start looking before you put your home on the market. Very interesting. Okay.
We talked about swing loans for years and years, but they generally are not in your control and at a pretty high rate. So there's some new, I guess it would still be a swing loan. It'd just be more palatable to today's consumer.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's good. That's really good. So, well, I mean, kind of on that same note in a way is the technology side of things. There is a lot of new stuff that's constantly been bombarded to agents. Hey, try this new technology, this new tool. What are some of the things that agents should be focused on learning the most right now? Where should their focus be? And then what kind of technology would you say they should probably even just eliminate? Like, so that, may not eliminate, but at least maybe not necessarily as important, maybe in this moment. You have any ideas on that?
Yeah, like a lot of ideas on that. I think that it's really easy to get away from the fact that you have to build close personal relationships with other human beings. Mm-hmm. If you are in this business and you do not have close personal relationships, you haven't spent your whole life building them, and now you're a new agent, you don't have anyone to fall back on, no one knows you, you just moved to a new area, hello, newsflash again, you need to do that quick. And the model for so many people is, let's just throw a bunch of money at it. We'll just spend all kinds of money and I'll become famous. And I don't know how opinionated I get to be on this show, but
as opinionated as you want to be, Mary.
It would really be okay with me if we all stopped giving our money to Zillow. In my opinion, Someone they found out already. They're probably calling.
The moment you said Zillow.
I believe that Zillow is working to put us out of the business.
Yeah.
And frankly, they'll never do it because we've got close personal relationships with people. So there will always be people that want what we have. We have a great student that in North Carolina, his wife is videoing him helping a client put hurricane shutters on the windows. And he looks over and he says, yeah, Zillow won't be doing this for you,
That's true, though. It is so true.
Right?
It is so true.
So I think we use Zillow as a platform. I think we use it to find for sale by owners. It's a great way to find for sale by owners. But in my opinion, put your money into relationships instead of, it's even been proven it's something like 3 or 5% of all the leads that come to you technologically actually turn into a commission. Well, that's not the case with relationships. So investing your money in the people, for one thing, with this COVID thing, it's changed the way we take care of our people. So you maybe used to be able to do an event or something that people would come to, or host a movie theater and bring your kids and I'm your realtor. We can't do that now. They're not. So those kinds of technologies are different. There's all kinds of creative new ways to stay in touch with clients and things like that. But I really think, I think the number one thing is to build that relationship. And we do that by caring. We do that by providing useful information. When's the last time in your own neighborhood that a realtor knocked on your door or provided information about a new property, whether it's their listing or not? What if you became the go-to source for, this is the price? When there's a property across the street from you, don't you want to know what they're asking? And so you're in real estate, Jane, so you're Googling it, right away what it is. But everybody else on the street wants to know too. Yeah. So being that go-to, right? Yeah.
That's absolutely true. It's become such a trend, and we mentioned influencers. You got to provide value, and then they don't really expand upon what that means. But I think you just kind of encapsulated that. That's it. It's relational. It's caring. It's providing the correct information that is relevant to what they need to be hearing. That is the key, and that's the things that Zillow can't do. They can't do it. I mean, look at his estimate.
Yeah.
Right there.
There's something else going on right now too. I mentioned that downward pressure on commissions. I think a lot of that's because we don't have to market properties. You put a listing on the market tomorrow afternoon. I know people want to see photos and stuff because we're in a COVID world and that's important. But the truth is we're going to have 8 offers by the weekend anyway.
So true.
So it's not about marketing like it was when the average days on market was 120 days. It's completely different. So, you should probably take less commission because you have 8 buyers this week. So I think it behooves us in the industry to shift the way we're looking at how we earn our commission. We are not earning our commission by marketing right now. We earn our commission by representing you and by negotiating for you.
That's really good. That's very good.
That's another reason we can't just email the offer. Right? Hello?
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
That is really good. And that's what is going to separate us.
I had a great agent say to me last week, to a buyer, she said, you drive past any house, you see a sign, the sign indicates the seller already has a representative. Do you want to use their representative, or are you going to use someone that's looking out for your best interests?
Oh, that's good.
Pretty neat little dialogue.
All right, there's a clip right there, guys. That is that's a good script right there for sure. Yeah. That's really good. Yeah. Mary, that's good stuff.
Yeah, I think we should be good at negotiating for them. I think we should be their equity defender because they need someone to do that. And especially in an upward market, that can be hard. Do we just take the highest bidder? So if you want to talk about what kind of skills we need, I'll tell you one skill: the ability to discern what the best offer is in a multiple offer situation.
Mm.
People are talking about highest and best. Highest isn't always best.
Right.
That's right. That's absolutely true. If you've been in this industry long enough, you know that as absolutely true. Hey, well, and here's one thing too: is we've heard this at the last episode we had someone on, and he said, we're entering into this era where we take what we would call a contact, and you're trying to work towards getting them to be advocates. So with what you're describing right now, it's that relationship. You're negotiating, you're protecting their equity, you're representing them, you're showing them compassion, you're caring. That is the steps that leads them to be advocates for your business. So I think what we're really doing here is we're building that relationship that's going to play out over the next 5-10 years when we're building that referral business. That's the key. Like, you're right. We don't have to go out and market a house. You don't have to point out where the kitchen is. You don't have to sell the house. It's going to do that. But what you are doing is making sure you protect that client and their interest, and then you're playing for the longevity of that relationship, providing them the trendy word value that's going to give you the advocacy later on down the road. So I think that's where agents really should be at.
Because you also have systems. So to negotiate at that one moment when we choose the offer, that isn't the whole program. Because as you know, it's harder and harder to close the transaction. That's what kills me about, lowering your fee before we've even entered the transaction. You don't know how hard that's going to be. Some of us go to war to get these babies closed. And if you don't have systems, you can do everything right, but the other agent doesn't do their part. Or somebody overlooks something, and that causes the whole thing to break down.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
A big part of that is education, isn't it? Somewhat to educate your clients on some of these points.
Yeah, and to make sure that no stone is left unturned, because we are in a changing market. Things are different. To learn from one another, to be in a group of people that care, professional realtors. If you're only doing a couple transactions a year, what are the odds that this one's going to go smoothly for you? Because too much has changed since the last time you did a transaction.
Yeah. That's good. You're so true. So true. So, Mary, I think we've kind of nailed on the point of what we're doing is relationships. And I think the way you would even say some of those things is people would classify as old school. But in reality, relationships and humans in general, we operate the same. The technology might be doing what we're doing now. It might be different, right? But we're relational, and old school still has a place. Mail outs and those type of marketing. Sure. What would you say? We're kind of in that arena a little bit again. Would you say old school marketing is coming back in a big way or not?
I think you got to find what you can do consistently. I know lots of people that are using social media, Instagram, they're doing all kinds of things, even Snapchat. They're really communicating with their people on the level they want to be. But is that the only thing? No, because a mail campaign, for example, we recommend oversized full color postcards that they throw away on the way to the trash can. They see it at the mailbox. There's your logo, and now it's gone. But you're reminding them that you're in. You send an email, you don't know if they open it. So Floyd has always taught mail, call, see. I think if there's any part of that, mail can be email or snail mail or Instagram. Being present on LinkedIn and having a professional persona out there. I think you do all of that. You do the things that work for you, but you can't have a relationship with someone you've never seen.
Well, and he teaches consistency, right? Doing that one mail out that they see and throw away isn't going to be enough. You have to consistently.
Right on, Jane. Right on. And here's what never changes. So we're talking about old school. Let me tell you something. In 1960, people said, I think I'm going to try and sell it myself. In 1970, people said, well, we want more money than that. In 1980, I mean, right? Like the
So true.
expectations haven't changed. Here's what's changed is you're new to the business and you don't know how to handle those. But
Yes.
the answers have been invented. So you can either figure it out on your own or you can learn a proven way of handling it and make it you, uniquely you. I like that, Adam.
Yeah, that's good. I love it. That's great. So, Mary, to wrap this up, I want to answer this question, and this is more or less the big takeaways for the audience right now.
Okay.
What would you say are the top 5 strategies or tips agents should be focused on in 2021?
Okay. Well, first, relationships. So put your people into your CRM and start using the tools that you've been given. Build those deep relationships. I think become skillful at presenting multiple offers. I've heard too many horror stories of, oh, my offer didn't even get, oh, there was an escalation clause. So become skillful when you are the listing agent at presenting multiple offers. And when you are the selling agent, get the listing agent on your side. Be nice. I think if we are nice to one another and we keep in mind who our client is, probably all succeed better, right? This isn't a technology so much, maybe it is. Protect your attitude. We're surrounded by negativity. Ask someone who's 19 for a playlist, and half the songs on there are going to make you want to jump off a bridge. They're so sad. The world is sad. The world is dysfunctional, but we don't have to be. We get to choose to be happy. Choose to be happy because it's magnetic. When you are happy and positive, people want to be around you and you can lift other people up. I think our world needs us more than they ever have. We are the influencers. We are the people that come into people's families and help them achieve their dreams. So you be the influencers and keep people positive. Surround yourself with positive. We have a coaching program, 8 people that get together for an hour every week. That's a way to stay positive and around new ideas and stimulating ideas. So what was that one? Control your attitude. Oh, this is such a hard question. Maintain balance, right? Like don't give it all to work. Because nobody ever puts on their gravestone, gee, I probably should have worked more hours. Oh, I wish I'd have worked harder. Like when you're dead and you look back, you regret missing out on experiences and relationships. So make sure you carve out time to be a whole human. Keep learning, be happy, have outside interests, not just the business. By the way, that's the secret to retention, is staying in this business. I guess the last thing maybe is more to the point, and that is don't resist the technology. We need Zoom or FaceTime. Some people, because they cannot do that, they're using the telephone. And I'm sorry, but Alexander Graham Bell died an awful long time ago. That's only audio. There are more neural pathways from your ear to your brain. There are fewer neural pathways from your ear to your brain than from your eye to your brain. And if you get both of those working, your eyes and your ears, you're going to communicate more genuinely, more truthfully, and easier to understand to your clients. So stop resisting the technology that allows us to show and not just tell. Show and tell.
Man, Mary, that was perfect. That was great. And one of the things I will say is this, and everything you just said, there's a lot of times coaches and motivational speakers, if you will, influencers, whatever title you want to give them, will give advice. They will say, these are the things you should be doing. Here's the top 5 tips, whatever. Your tips are also what you are. So I just want to say that you're not just telling people, here's what you need to do, and then not doing it yourself. I think that is what I've seen in you. I know anyone of our own agents that have sat through your training and your coaching would absolutely say. So I thank you for the, being genuine and being a person of your word. So thank you.
Adam, I think we teach people how to treat us.
Yes.
I think we do a disservice when we say, I'm available 24/7. Oh, you are not. Now you already under-delivered.
That's so true.
I have a ball. Thank you, Paul.
That's great. Mary, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.